Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for coming back to my channel. As you guys can see today, I don't have any makeup on my face. This is a very difficult video for me to make. I am not confident at all my natural skin, so but I did want to show you guys kind of how I personally do my base makeup, and I hope you can get a little enjoyment out of this. So as you can see, I do have a lot of red areas on my face. I do have eczema, so I get red splotchy areas, and it's extremely dry. I have extremely dry skin in some places, and the rest of my face, because I have to use so much moisturizer, does get a bit oily, so I have very uneven skin tones going on. So I might do my makeup a little bit differently than you would. There's some steps that you might be able to skip or kind of adjust to your own skin type. So I guess let's kind of just get into it. So the first thing I'm doing is I have this Skin & Co. Skin Mist. It's basically a hydrating mist. It does help a little bit with the dry patches on my face. So I'm just going to spray that. Okay. You don't need a whole lot of that spray. If you use it too much of it, it does tend to make your skin a little bit too hydrated. So then I'm just going to take this beauty blender here and just kind of press the mist into my skin. Okay. And now this is one of the parts of the mist that you might be able to skip if you don't have super dry skin. I do it every time because otherwise around my dry areas my makeup does like to kind of stick there and really look pretty cakey. So next I'm going to do primer. I'm just using the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer today. This is a new primer that I got. I've never used it before. Usually I use the No Problem primer from Touch and Soul. It's another kind of issue I have. I do have dry skin, so usually you would want more illuminating primers and hydrating primers, but I do really like a matte finish, and I like my pores to disappear as much as possible. So I do use more mattifying products. So I'm just kind of sticking my finger in the primer here and kind of just pressing it into my skin. Focusing mostly on my problem areas, like my T-zone, and that's just the area around your nose and a little bit on the forehead and the chin. And that's just the main focus. You can absolutely put primer all over your face. And I am doing that because this does seem like a little bit of a hydrating primer. Okay, so once you have the primer on, typically I would let it sit for a couple minutes and kind of just soak into my skin, but for purposes of the video, I am just going to kind of move right along. So next thing I have here is the Maybelline Fit Me foundation. It does have SPF 18 in it. It's for normal to dry skin. This is one thing I do use more of the dewy. It's the dewy and smooth finish, because I have found out that if I use a matte foundation, excuse me, my face just, it cracks off and it just doesn't stay. So I do just put this on with my fingertips I just kind of make little dots all around my face. Once in a while I will use a matte finish like during the summer, but I do live in the Midwest where we have crazy winters and the air is extremely dry, so that does nothing for the eczema. Nothing at all. Okay, so now that I have kind of a blotchy mess on my face, I usually just take a brush. So I am going to use the Morphe Jaclyn Hill collaboration, the JH03 brush. It's just kind of like a kabuki brush here. And I'm kind of just pressing and dragging the foundation. And that kind of just melts into the skin. Sometimes I will use a beauty blender if I have time. Typically, the brush does take a bit less time, and you do get a little bit more coverage out of the brush because the beauty blenders do like to soak up a lot of product. Okay, and I'm dragging it down my neck as well. Make sure you get all the way in the hairline. And I do drag it on my lids as well. You don't have to do that. It's just something I do. Get the ears a little bit. And this shade is a little bit dark for me right now. Like I said, it is winter, so definitely not going outside as much as I would in the summer, so my skin is a little bit lighter. So this seems like I need a little bit more, so you can absolutely, well, for most foundations anyways, you can add more and kind of build up the coverage. Okay. So I'm just adding a little bit more coverage around my red spots. There is a portion on my nose right here. I can never really seem to cover up, no matter how many times I try. Okay. And you really don't have to rush this part. You definitely just want to make sure everything's even. And dragging it down your neck a little bit just really make sure that everything is blended together and you don't have a lovely orange line that everybody likes to stare at. Okay, so now that I have my foundation on, I am taking the e.l.f. Camo Concealer. This is in Medium Peach. If you see my other videos, I usually take the light peach shade for like setting my eyelid and doing kind of a cut crease. But for my actual skin tone, I like to use the medium peach because it's only slightly lighter than my normal skin tone. So for this, I like to just kind of do kind of like a half triangle. I don't do the full triangle like you tend to see on other YouTubers' videos. Okay, and then kind of just pat it out with that same brush. This concealer does crease quite a bit if you don't set it right away. So I'm trying to really be fast about this. And this kind of just helps get rid of the dark circles under your eye. I could use color correctors for the rest of my skin, but really just, I don't like to take the time to do that. Okay, and for my other problem areas, I do like to just kind of spot them a little bit.
And just blend it out.
You can do this under your foundation as well. Okay, so now that we have that kind of blended out, just trying to move pretty fast, I'm going to take this Aesthetica P12 brush. It's just this fluffy brush here. And I am going to set my concealer and the rest of my face. So taking the Becca, I think it's the Hydra Mist. Let me see here. What is this? It is, yep, the Hydra Mist Set and Refresh Powder. I'm just taking a little bit on the end of my brush here. I know some people do like to bake their concealer in their under eye and all that, but I tried that and my skin is just way too dry for that. So I just set it with just a little bit of powder and then take the excess that's already on the brush and kind of just drag it on my face. And that kind of gives it more of a matte look without really drying out your skin and making your makeup crack. Okay, so now that we have our face kind of set, I'm going to do a little bit of contour today. I have the Park Avenue Princess palette. That's from Tarte. I'm going to take the shade Carrot. It's just this kind of cool tone brown, and I'm just dabbing the excess off because my cheek area here is one of those areas that does get really patchy and likes to grab at the product. So I'm just kind of doing circular motions and just following the indented part of my cheek. I'm not trying to create a new indent. You can do that, but I just like to follow my actual face. It kind of makes it look a little bit thinner and more defined. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing to my other side here. Again, just using circular motions and just following my actual face shape. Okay, if you use a little bit too much like I did, that's okay. I'm just taking that same brush that I had before and kind of just diffusing the color a little bit. Okay, and as you can see here, it does grab at the product right here. And that's just because my face is super dry. Okay, and then I do the forehead just a little bit with whatever product is left on the brush from doing my cheeks. And then I'm going to take a little bit more of that shade and kind of run it under my jawline. Okay, so now you could kind of contour your nose a little bit. I'm just going to take a little bit of whatever product is on here and kind of just create a shadow instead of actually contouring my nose. And that just creates a little bit more definition to your nose. And you can do underneath it if you want. Basically, makeup is just for playing with. I mean, you can create whatever you would like with it as long as you take the time to do it. Okay, so now that I have that done, I am going to bronze up my face just a little bit because my foundation is a little bit dark already. I'm going to take the shade Princess Cut here. It's just a warmer shade, and just barely dip into it. And I am brushing the excess off on my hand, and then you just kind of warm up your face. I like to follow the same pattern as I did my contour. And then that just adds just a little bit of warmth to your face. So that is kind of how I do just my base makeup. I will do just a really quick eye look. Probably one of the quickest looks you'll see on this channel, but I just kind of want to show you kind of a more finished product. So I am going to take just the same brush I always use for my base eyeshadow, and I just dipped into my Pales Out of the Conspiracy palette. Just run that over my lid really quick. Okay. And take the Morphe Jacqueline Hill collaboration. It's the JH32 brush. And dip into Tanacon. And just kind of put that in my crease. And I'm bringing it up. Same thing for the other eye. Just kind of drag it in your crease and kind of blend upwards. Okay, and then I am just going to dip my finger into Just a Theory and just kind of put that on my eyelid. I am actually going to deepen up my crease just a tiny bit with some Diet Root Beer and kind of put that on my outer corner as well. Okay, so now we just have a really soft look, nothing fancy. Then I'm gonna take this Physicians Formula Organic Wear Mascara. This is their new packaging. Just kind of pop that on. I am in the market for a new mascara. The other one that I had, the Big Ego, I was liking it for a while, but kind of got really chunky and weird, and shouldn't do that. I really didn't have that mascara long, so Although I did like it for a while, I can't really recommend that to you guys just because of the way it did kind of turn out. There we go. This mascara, it's okay. It doesn't really do much for you. Kind of just coats your eyelashes in black, but it's an okay mascara, I guess. And then I'm just gonna throw a little bit of the Dose of Colors Flirty liquid lipstick on. If you guys know of any really great lip liners, also let me know. I don't usually use lip liners, but I haven't really found any that I like, so. All right. And there's your face transformation. Like I said, there are different things that you could do differently. Some people put more powder on than I would. You can definitely skip the spray part, which sometimes I do end with as well, especially if it's a really dry day like today where I am getting cracks already. Instead of using a setting spray, I'll use something like that. And that kind of just helps prevent the cracks just a little bit. But I really hope you guys liked the video. As always, you can leave comments, questions, concerns in the comment box. Otherwise, look me up on Instagram and Twitter, and you can email me any questions or concerns or anything like that as well. But have a nice day, guys. Thanks for coming.